Hello there, my name is Doreen Velin, and I'm really glad you joined me today. We're going to be talking about a very, very important subject that doesn't get talked about. It's about masks, and the masks we wear to cover up all our idiosyncrasies. There's something that we all have, we all need as children. We start as a child needing them. They help us to overcome some of the stuff that's happening in our life that we don't like. For instance, I was like an only child. I was left alone to play on my own. My mother worked all the time. My father worked. I didn't have a lot of parental guidance. So I was on my own. So I became very independent. So that was kind of like a mask I started wearing, was a mask of independence. I don't need anybody. I am just fine on my own. That became my mask. And as I went into life and got a little bit older, it increases. And it gets stronger because I probably found that it really supplied me with the perks that I needed to make me feel good. So this is a mask, and sometimes we paint this mask. I get guys to paint it. But today I'm going to keep it really simple because you probably don't have this. So we're going to just take a piece of paper here. I'm going to just draw a mask on it, a face. So I'm going to just share a little bit with you about masks. So we don't want you to be fooled by the mask I wear. For I wear 100 masks, and I'm old, so I've had a lot of masks in my life. And none of them are really me. So don't be fooled. I give the impression that I am secure, that I have it all together. I have confidence. I gave you that impression. But actually, inside, I have a lot of feelings and beliefs of myself that aren't true, that I'm covering up. Let me just share some with you. So beneath I put some eyes in. Oh, these are little tiny eyes, aren't they? Oh, I want bigger eyes. I have little eyes, so I like to have a big eye. So this is the mask I wear to the public. So this is what I want you to see about me. This is what I want you to see. I have little tiny lips, so I could see me have big lips. As if I had Botox. And I have blue eyes. I like that about myself. So I'd like you to see me with blue eyes. Oh, I have to have a pupil in there, don't I? Okay. You're going to think, what kind of art does she do? Different kind of art. Okay, and let's do some eyebrows and eyelashes, eyebrows and eyebrushes, and nice big lashes. Okay, nice big lashes. And well, I have you see, this is something I've always been conscious of. I wear glasses, but in school, I didn't like to have glasses because they called me four eyes. So I'd put my finger like this on my nose, so that nobody would see that I call it a ski jump. I've got a ski jump nose, and I've never liked it. So I would sit here in the classroom like this, and this is how I'd sit all day, pushing on that stupid bone, hoping it would depress on me a little bit so I wouldn't have that ski jump anymore. But it's what I have. So that's what I was born with. So I'm going to be putting in a little nose here, just a little tiny nose. I know it looks stupid, but, well, it's better than my big nose. Okay, so, okay, I'll have hair. Okay, you're telling me to have hair. Oh, okay, I gotta have hair. I like hair. That's good to have. Okay, we'll have some hair. So acceptance and beneath this mask dwells the real me. In confusion, alone, sometimes I feel alone, and fearful. But right now, I want you to see this mask. I want you to see me. I want you to see a confident me, a person that knows what I'm doing. I feel organized. So you've heard about my independence. And later on down the years, this mask has become a detriment to me because I wanted to be independent. My mother said to me, you make sure you have a certificate in your drawer. You get some training because you never know what's going to happen in your marriage. So I became, and she's also, I kind of just remembered now, she also said to me, don't ever need a man. And that was from coming from the war. She was alone for 6 years during the war when my dad was overseas in the war. So that independence became a huge, thick mask for me. And I never recognized it. So I got married. And we fought a lot over that subject because my husband didn't feel needed. He didn't feel needed at all. And I didn't need him. And I did all the social events. I did all the planning. I did all the socialization, the booking with our neighbors, the booking with our friends. I didn't need him. And I needed friends. In fact, I needed friends so much that I actually had them listed as friends that I needed for dinners, friends I needed for company, party friends. I had them all categorized. I remember my husband saying one day, I was over at the neighbors when he came home from work, and I was pregnant. And I just loved staying with my neighbors and watching her fold diapers and doing her thing, because I was learning, actually. I was gleaming from that, but I didn't realize it till later on in years that that's what I was doing. But he came home, he says, he was so mad. He said, you might as well get your sleeping bag and sleep over there. And I thought, you don't need me. You could, like, I can make supper later, or you can make supper. You don't need me. But my friend needs me. So that's the other mask I wore. And that mask became a detriment also, because that mask became something that I needed so badly that I became distant to my family, distant to my husband, because I wanted to have fun. I wanted to have fun. And I also was eager to learn. I had to learn everything. Because my number one feeling inside, my darkest feeling, was stupid. Because I was the baby, and everybody said as a little girl, don't ask Doreen anything, she doesn't know anything. So I had this hang-up, I guess you would call it. And I had to be smart. I was trying to be good at something. I was never really good at anything. I could be a little bit good at a lot of things, but not really good at any one thing. And that really bothered me. I thought, what would I have on my epitaph if I die? Jack of all trades, master of none? That's how I felt. So that became a problem. That mask became a real problem. Because what happened, somebody, maybe not just one person, maybe a few people told me this years ago, that I intimidated them. And I was a bit of a know-it-all. So that made me have a look at this mask. What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I trying to portray to people? Am I real? I'm not real. I just want this nice pretty mask and these pretty blue eyes and this nice hair, short nose and big lips. And a heart. That's the other thing. I wanted people to see my heart because I cared about people so much. I wanted them to see it right there, like full bore, front and center. I don't have to hide it. That's my heart. It's for you. So these masks I wore for a long, long time. And I'm old, so I wore them for a long time. They became very thick. And they did me well. They served me well in different instances. And not served me well in other instances. And I'll give you a few examples of other masks people wear. Some of the other masks are like a fence sitter or a pleaser, and they won't say anything to anybody because they don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to make waves. And they want everybody to like them. That mask starts at a very young age. And if that's one of your masks, you might want to look at the earliest recollection you could remember that you got that mask from. For my husband, it was a little boy down the street from him that had a bicycle, and he was the only boy that had a bicycle in his neighborhood. And he thought that, oh, if I'm really nice to this boy, he'll let me ride his bicycle. So his mask of being Mr. Nice Guy fence sitter, pleaser, any of those things became very, very solid in him. And he came into our marriage with that, which was very harmful because he would never tell me his opinion. He would say, whatever you want to do. And I got frustrated. It caused a lot of anxiety. Or he wouldn't tell anybody what he really thought of them. Or we would be planning a vacation with another couple, and he'd come home in the car and say, I'm not going there. Like he couldn't tell them to their face. So it was very, very detrimental. Another mask that sometimes people wear is chameleon. There's a lot of people that wear a chameleon mask. There's a very strong chameleon. So you'll do what anybody says or anybody does. I've seen people copy accents, even if somebody was from England, and they'll talk like an Englishman, you know, just for a cup of tea, a little spot of tea, and tag into their accent very, very quickly if they're around them. A chameleon is one that usually comes a bit later. It can come early if there's trauma in the family and a lot of dysfunctionalism. If there's trauma like abuse, that chameleon mask is so thick, and it's not wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's useful, and it's important, and it's necessary. It protects ego. It protects that little child from feeling that way and feeling those feelings of being used. So they make themselves a chameleon, and they make themselves really, really just to change your color. And they're there for anybody. Children grow up with anxiety. There's a lot of, ADHD and ADD now they talk about. And children grow up with this anxiety, and it's a way for them to distance themselves and feel opaque or transparent and not be there. Hopefully nobody notices them, and they sink, they fade off into the woodwork. And that comes with alcoholism, it comes with addiction. And this is a protection mechanism. We all have them. So if you're even remotely able to adhere or to recognize any of these type of masks, there's not wrong. They're not wrong. They're what you needed at the time to get you through life, to get you through the bad stuff. So masks are good, but they're also the one we want to peel away. So slowly as we become mature, we want to peel away those masks. We start with the easiest one, the latest one, and slowly we can work down like an onion. It's like an onion. We peel that onion, and we peel a little bit layer at one time, and we take off one mask. And you know what? People still accept us. Oh, maybe that gives me confidence. And they trust, and I can trust them to peel off another mask. So you peel off another mask. And it's like cleaning out a closet. We go into one closet, we clean it as much as we can, and then we get the courage to clean the whole thing out. And then we can close the door and go to the next closet and tackle that mess. So that's what we're talking about, masks. And I'm going to talk, my next video, I'd like to talk about the back side of this mask. And the back side of this mask is the stuff that we need to cover up. And we're trying to cover up and hide it from people. That's the dirty laundry. And next video, we're going to talk about that. Thank you for having the courage to listen to this. I hope that it helps you. I hope that you can relate to some of it. If you can, please, please, please subscribe. Thank you very much. This is Doreen Velin.